There is an unspoken belief that success has an expiration date. By a certain age, people expect careers to be established, confidence to be visible, and direction to be clear. When life unfolds differently, it is easy to believe that something has gone wrong. But human psychology rarely follows a schedule. Some men develop in ways that are difficult to recognize while they are happening. Instead of collecting quick victories, they spend years building invisible habits, thinking deeply, questioning assumptions, and slowly shaping a view of the world that cannot be rushed. From the outside, this often resembles delay. From the inside, it can feel like frustration, isolation, and the constant fear of being left behind. Yet history and psychology suggest something interesting. Not every slow beginning leads to a disappointing ending. Sometimes, a slower path is simply the result of a mind that grows through understanding rather than speed. The men who eventually flourish often carry certain patterns long before anyone notices their success. The first pattern is surprisingly common. Some people make decisions almost instinctively. They choose a direction, adjust along the way, and rarely look back. Others cannot do that. Their minds naturally examine possibilities from several angles. Before making a choice, they imagine consequences, search for missing details, and quietly ask themselves questions that few people even consider. To observers, this can look like hesitation. To the person experiencing it, it often feels exhausting. They know opportunities sometimes disappear while they are still thinking. They may even criticize themselves for taking too long. Yet beneath that habit is something different from simple fear. Many thoughtful people feel responsible for the future version of themselves. They hesitate because they understand that every decision changes what comes next. That awareness slows them down. Although this creates frustration early in life, it also develops a habit of careful judgment. Over the years, decisions become less impulsive and more deliberate. Their progress may be slower, but it is often built on stronger foundations. For many late achievers, the finish line never stays in one place. The moment they learn a new skill, they notice everything they still cannot do. Every achievement quietly creates another challenge. This pattern is often mistaken for low confidence. In reality, it is frequently connected to a mind that naturally focuses on refinement instead of completion. While others celebrate reaching a goal, these individuals are already studying what could have been better. Living this way has an emotional cost. It becomes difficult to enjoy progress because attention keeps returning to imperfections. Even praise can feel uncomfortable when they know how much work still remains unseen. Yet this relentless refinement slowly produces something remarkable. Years spent improving small details accumulate into abilities that appear effortless from the outside. People often admire the final result without realizing it was shaped by countless quiet moments of dissatisfaction that pushed growth forward. Not every person is motivated by attention. Some are far more interested in understanding than impressing. Conversations about status, appearances, or constant competition rarely hold their attention for long. They become energized by meaningful questions, thoughtful ideas, or discovering how things actually work. Because modern environments often reward visibility, these quieter personalities can feel strangely invisible. They begin wondering why they never seem excited by the same goals everyone else celebrates. This difference can create loneliness. It is easy to believe something is missing when your motivation does not resemble the people around you. But sometimes the issue is not personality, it is environment. When these individuals eventually discover work that rewards independent thinking, rather than constant comparison, everything begins to change. Their curiosity becomes useful instead of unusual. Their quiet persistence becomes an advantage rather than a weakness. And success finally begins to reflect qualities that had existed all along. Perhaps the hardest part of growing at your own pace is not the waiting itself, it is being misunderstood while you wait. Quiet people are often assumed to lack ambition. Careful thinkers are mistaken for fearful ones. People who question themselves are seen as uncertain, even when those questions come from genuine self-awareness rather than insecurity. The deepest forms of growth rarely announce themselves. Sometimes the greatest changes happen entirely within the way someone observes the world, processes emotion, or understands themselves. These changes receive little recognition because they cannot be measured from the outside. But invisible growth is still growth, and many lives begin changing long before anyone else notices. One of the most overlooked traits among later achievers is intellectual restraint. They rarely feel the need to prove they are knowledgeable. Instead of rushing to speak, they prefer listening. Instead of trying to appear certain, they remain open to learning something new. This humility can easily be mistaken for a lack of confidence. Meanwhile, louder personalities naturally receive attention first. Being underestimated can become frustrating, especially when thoughtful contributions remain unnoticed. Yet there is another side to this pattern. People eventually learn who consistently offers reliable insight when it truly matters. Over time, trust begins replacing first impressions. Respect replaces attention, and genuine competence quietly becomes visible without demanding recognition. Many assume confidence arrives automatically with success. Psychology suggests otherwise. For thoughtful people, every new achievement often reveals another layer of complexity. Instead of feeling like experts, they become increasingly aware of how much remains unknown. Paradoxically, greater understanding often produces greater humility. This can be emotionally confusing. They improve year after year, yet still question themselves in moments that seem simple to others. Although this uncertainty is uncomfortable, it also protects them from becoming complacent. Curiosity survives, learning continues. Growth never truly stops, because certainty never completely replaces wonder. What appears to be insecurity is often the mind refusing to stop asking meaningful questions. People notice promotions, businesses, achievements, and recognition. They rarely notice the years that came before. The evenings spent reading while others were distracted. The quiet habits formed after repeated failure. The gradual rebuilding of confidence after disappointment. The invisible moments are where identity changes. Long before life reflects success, the person slowly becomes someone capable of carrying it. This stage is difficult because there is little external proof that progress exists. Many leave too early because they mistake silence for failure. But those who continue eventually discover that the greatest transformation was never external. It happened within the way they think, respond to challenges, and understand themselves. By the time visible success arrives, the most important work has already been done. Perhaps success has never belonged only to those who move the fastest. Perhaps it belongs just as often to those willing to think deeply, remain curious, and continue growing when progress cannot yet be seen. A slower path does not always mean a smaller future. Sometimes it simply means the mind is building something that requires more time, but lasts much longer once it finally appears.